Are we on? Yep. Okay. Crazyman4985 Content Reacted, and oh man, I took a long absence, didn't I? I'm sorry about that. That's because it's kind of like a new channel, and I had a I'm not really disciplined with this whole YouTube thing like I thought I would be, but I still don't want to, like, just drop it. So I do like doing this. So anyway, it's a reaction channel. Sometimes I do a review here and there. Didn't seem to go too popular, but my reaction videos get some pull. So what are we reacting on today? Well, I am deciding to do another reaction to Johann Sebastian Bach, and this is a popular, one of his most famous tunes. It's one of his preludes, and it's a prelude in a C major. Okay, now this video is by a guy, a YouTube channel known as Rousseau, Rousseau. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, probably not. And I will provide links in the description down below for everything, for the video that I'm watching and his channel. Go subscribe. He plays a lot of piano. He does a lot of stuff on the piano, and he shows you how he does it, like from a top-down perspective and stuff like that, and it's, with scales and with his fingers and everything. And it's actually very interesting. If you want to actually learn how to play the piano, you can watch this guy. So I just want to address that a lot of people do ask me in the comment section. They say, "Oh, Crazy Man, why do you pause the video so much? You always pause the video, and you're always talking, and you don't let the whole thing play out." Well, if anybody doesn't know how reaction videos work, I'm gonna let you know. Is you do have to have a according to copyright laws and stuff like that, in order for me to even be allowed to have a reaction video and whatnot, I have to create a narrative, an opinion, a critique, all that stuff. I have to. What's the term? Like, I have to do what they call tactical pauses and all that stuff. So I gotta pause every 90 seconds or so. I try to do this, not so textbook to the rules, but I try to put as much of my opinion and narrative as I can to transform the work into a reaction and a review and stuff like that. So this is why, if people tell me, I think on one of my Elvis reactions, they were like, "Oh, just let it play through and then say," I can't do that. It's because then they, I'm not, it can be a slippery slope if it's considered a reaction video if I do that. So this is why when you watch reaction videos, you will see a lot of pauses and stuff like that. Now, some people may not, but that means that maybe they're not looking to, make a real channel out of it or something. Maybe they just don't care, whatever the case is. But this is how I do it, and I hope everybody understands that. Anyway, enough about the rants and stuff. I'm gonna try to be a little more committed to this channel again, and we are going to watch Prelude in C major by Johann Sebastian Bach by this guy Rousseau. I don't know if I'm pronounced it right. Everything will be in the description down below. And let us watch this, and we're going to give this a typical score at the end. I'm going to do a couple pauses. Try to play most of it through, but we'll do a couple pauses if I have to, and I'm going to just critique on it. And let's see. Let's see how Bach... I know Bach has a lot of fans, but I tell you, one thing about my classical reactions is Bach really... people really like Bach. Okay, so let's do it. 3, 2, 1, yo. So that's nice. like those chords. Very simple melody, but very beautiful. I'm gonna pause it right there. We are at 59 seconds. Very simple yet super famous melody. Like, if you know anything about classical music, you will recognize this melody right off the bat. Very simple, right? This isn't like a Beethoven, a Passionata or something here. This is a La Campana. This is a very simple melody, but it works. It's extremely pretty. The chords on the left hand that's being played sounds like the pulse of the melody, and I don't know if this has to do with interweaving or counterpoint or whatever they always talk about Bach, but it just, when you listen to Bach, you always just feel like it never ends, in a sense. Like, it's like it kind of goes in a circle, his melodies, but like in an ever-growing circle. So like it starts like this, and then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? But it's kind of like it's an ever-growing circle. Like, it never ends, in a sense, because he like feeds off of it. And he does this with his fugues a lot, I feel, too. And it's just very, it's very pretty. It's a very recognizable theme. I really do like this so far. So we're going to continue. Okay, 3, 2, 1. See, now it's, octaves are deeper and lower now. I mean, it's beautiful. Say, like, see how it's even like, once you feel like it's almost coming to a close, but it even transitions again, right? Like, it's like this could literally go on forever if he wanted it to, to just kind of loop back and forth. But he loops it, he changes it such in subtle ways that you don't feel like it's, I mean, it maintains your interest the whole time, which I think is very interesting with Bach. Bach's melodies are really beautiful and simplistic. Some of them are simplistic. And some of them are very involved. This one is simplistic. A lot of them are very, very, very involved. It's simplistic, but yet there's a beauty to the simplicity here, where if this was like Beethoven, you would see like the hands going all up and down the keyboard, and the melody wouldn't hold intact with Beethoven. Beethoven gives you raw emotion, where he kind of does go all over the place with his playing, where which is interesting in another way because it's full of surprises and mechanics like that. But with Bach, you get this, like, what you're getting, but the sudden changes and the way it just interweaves or whatever with each, I don't. They call. See, I don't know I don't study music theory, so I don't want to say anything incorrect. But it works. It really works, and this is a very famous melody right here. Probably, I'm gonna say, could have even inspired the Moonlight Sonata a little bit just by its simplicity and stuff like that. It's just in my head. I don't know if that's accurate. Don't quote me on it. Okay, we are 1 minute and 47 seconds. Let's continue. 3, 2, 1. Is that the close? Wow. Okay. A little clap there. And again, this is link will be in the description below. The channel is Rousseau if you want to subscribe to him. He does piano covers of classical songs and stuff like that. Best version so far I've seen of this particular piece, and I love how the top down and showing the actual notes being played is kind of interesting too. But again, I'm listening this actually not so much to praise the person who's playing the piece, but to actually talk about Johann Sebastian Bach more than anything. And Bach, this piece is the Prelude in C major, and I have to give this a score. So, what am I going to give this on a scale of 1 to 10? We're going to give it a 9.2. Yes, 9.2. This is from Johann Sebastian Bach. 9.2. It is the Prelude in C major. Why am I only giving it a 9.2 and not like a 10 and all that other stuff? Well, look, 9.2 is a fantastic score. I give it a 9.2 because of its simplicity and its short length. This is definitely not something that I can give a 10, like one of his fugues or something like that, because his fugues are so involved and they really perk your ears when you listen to the fugues and stuff that he has done. So I can't give this a 10. Okay, but I am going to give it over a 9. I'm going to give it a 9.2 because of its sheer simplicity and beauty. Kind of goes against it a little bit, but goes a lot more for it in the sense that this is a very famous piece. Like, if you listen to this piece, I'm sure everybody who listens to it knows it just off the bat, especially if you like classical music. This is a very popular melody that will reside in people's heads. I personally think it might have inspired some of the Moonlight Sonata, but that's just my opinion, because Bach inspired a lot of classical musicians. He basically was like the grandfather of classical musicians. Like, he just wrote like 1,100 pieces or something like that, and he inspired a hell of a lot of it. So a lot of guys after him that kind of studied Bach. Bach was like the, what do you want to call it? Bach was the scale in which you measure a classical composer. Like, he was the guy, right? So with that being said, I'm gonna say that, yep, 9.2. Again, it's I think he has better pieces, but again, sometimes these simple pieces that are very beautiful and very just like simple and don't seem too difficult to play on the piano can just hook somebody into listening to classical music. What you got to realize is a lot of times when people listen to complex pieces like I don't know, Hammerklavier, for example, from Beethoven or something like that, right? One of his sonatas. You say to yourself, like, well, that's not going to be for everybody. Like, you could give that a high rating or score, but somebody will listen to it and maybe like, I don't really know what the hell I'm listening to. And then when they listen to something like this, the Prelude in C major, it's like, oh, that's actually really pretty. And again, it's like why do some people, let's just say Frederick Chopin, people that love Frederick Chopin's piano etudes or whatever you want to call it, and like his Winter Wind and whatnot, and the reason why I'm bringing him into the mix is that people who love him tend not to like Beethoven's piano music as much sometimes. Like, I've heard kind of negative critiques and stuff like that on Beethoven's piano sonatas when they listen to Frederick Chopin's piano etudes and nocturnes and whatnot. And I think it's because of the Beethoven almost feels a lot more less complex than Chopin. But at the same time, you always got to give credit to the guy before, and I am definitely going all over the place with this rant right now, and I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm bringing up Beethoven and Chopin. I shouldn't be bringing up all these guys talking about Bach. What I'm trying to say is sometimes if you want to get into classical music, you got to listen to, I was talking about the Moonlight Sonata. If you got to, right, sometimes a simple piece like the Moonlight Sonata will get people to listen to classical music. And this is the point I'm making about this Prelude in C major. This is a piece that can bring people in to appreciating and enjoying classical music. When you have pieces that are so hard to play, like a Chopin piece or something like that, or not like, like Winter Wind, for example, that etude that he goes like all up and crazy down. You have a piece like that, it's fascinating, and that's a fascinating piece. But it might not attract everybody off the bat, right? Like, you almost have to like up your way to listening to something like that. This is something that right off the bat you get attracted to. So this is why it's a 9.2. This is stuff to bring you into classical music as a whole. And that's all I got to say on the subject here. We're back. We're going to try to do some more content reacted videos. Crazyman4985. You know how I do this. I rate, and then I ask you to, subscribe, hit the bell, all that stuff. I'm trying to get that 4,000 an hour to, on my channel. It's still nowhere close. But, I appreciate everybody that comes here. And, it's funny because I left this channel for a couple of months. I haven't really updated anything, and I'm like, I can't like leave this alone. And the problem with me is I have a discipline problem, like when it comes to keep putting out stuff. And I don't think I'm a terrible reactor. I've actually had some people tell me that they want to see more from me. Some people were mean in the comments and told me, like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, which is fine. This is the whole enjoyment of YouTube, is you could be a jerk to me. Like, I actually don't mind, because it teaches me how maybe I could try to be a little more informed on this, or maybe I could learn to not be, Tourette's from, speaking before I think sometimes, or try to, take it in more. And this is again why I explained in the beginning of the video that I can't just always let the songs play through, because of, this is a narrative, a reaction, opinion. This has, so I have to make this transformative enough to consider this something that I made. But, again, this is, I've always given credit to the person who played the song, or played the piece, the person who performed it, the channel, link in the description, always will be in my channels. I'm always going to in that. And again, credit to Johann Sebastian Bach for composing this piece. And it's a beautiful piece. So that's all I have to say. And see you next time. Crazy Man out.